There is a piece of wisdom that is not about growth, but about its limits. It is not about our power to change the world, but about the power of our actions to create places that can never be unchanged. The wisdom is this: the most enduring legacy of an action is not the action itself, but the choices it removes for the future. This is not a call for caution. It is a description of consequence. We are a species that believes in healing, in restoration, in the idea that any system, given enough time and effort, can be returned to its original state. We believe every scar can be faded, every field replanted, every mistake undone. But what if some wounds are so deep they become a permanent part of the geography? I want to take you to a place in northern France. From a distance, it looks like a beautiful, lush, and unusually bumpy forest. It is quiet, serene, and teeming with wildlife. But you are forbidden from entering it. If you did, you would find no hiking trails, no picnic spots, and no people. You would find only a geography of poison. This place is called the Zone Rouge, the Red Zone. It is a 1,200 square kilometer scar left on the face of the earth by the First World War. This was the heart of the Western Front, the site of battles like Verdun and the Somme. For 4 years, this land was subjected to a level of violence that is almost geological in its scale. It was saturated with millions and millions of artillery shells, containing not just explosives, but lead, mercury, arsenic, and poison gas. When the war ended in 1918, the fighting stopped, but the war against the land had just begun. The French government, in the triumphant spirit of Reconstruction, believed they could fix it. They set out to reclaim the land, to return it to the farmers, to erase the scar. But they soon discovered that this was not a problem that could be solved. This was a new and permanent state of being. The ground was, and still is, saturated with unexploded ordnance. An estimated 12 million shells still lie buried in the soil. The iron harvest is a yearly ritual where farmers in the surrounding areas still turn up tons of rusty, lethal munitions. But in the Zone Rouge, the density is too great. The land is also polluted on a chemical level, with arsenic levels in the soil up to 17,000 times the natural background. The water is poisoned. The very earth is toxic. The French government, faced with this reality, did something extraordinary. They gave up. They accepted that this land could not be healed on a human timescale. They could not restore the past. The only thing they could do was to quarantine the future. They bought the land. They relocated the last inhabitants of the villages that had been shattered into dust, and they simply let it go. They made the conscious, humble, and heartbreaking decision to cede this territory back to a different kind of timeline. And what has happened in the centuries since is a profound and terrifying lesson. Nature has returned. A dense, wild forest has grown over the trenches and the shell craters. But it is not a restoration. It is a new creation, a beautiful monster. The trees grow on poisoned soil. The moss covers unexploded bombs. The animals that live there carry the toxins in their bodies. It is a thriving ecosystem, built on a foundation of our violence. It is a scar that has learned to breathe. The actions of 1916 did not just kill soldiers. They removed the possibility for a farmer in 2025 to plant a crop. They removed the choice for a child to ever play in that forest. The most profound legacy of that war is not in the history books. It is in the permanent absence of a future that can no longer happen on that land. This forces us to look at the zones we create in our own lives, our work, and our world. The trust we shatter in a relationship. The toxic culture we allow to grow in an organization. The data we release into the world that can never be fully recalled. We're often so focused on the immediate act that we're blind to the choices we are permanently removing for those who will come after us. The Zone Rouge teaches us the most sobering wisdom of all, that some actions do not just create a memory, they create a new and irreversible reality. And the deepest scars are not the ones we see, but the futures that can no longer grow there.